The next time you need a haircut, think of the barbershop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old J.C. Penney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama, with one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.
Good evening. Welcome to Gumbo Live. Gumbo Live. We're here in New Dimension.
Yes.
That's what we're filming Gumbo Live today. And I have two of my friends, two men that I really respect. And I got them here because we need to deal with an issue that seems like nobody want to deal with.
Yeah.
And things don't just go away. Things don't just happen. When you got things that you need to deal with, you need to deal with it. All right? And in no kind of way are we trying to be divisive. That's a big old mosquito there. No, I don't want to lay hands on you anyway. Get some of that annoying. But what I want to do now, like we always do on Gumbo Live, I always tell you that Gumbo Live is going to be entertaining and informative. And I think that we're going to help somebody. First of all, I want to do like I always do. I'm going to go to my right side here and I'm going to let Apostle Holman tell us who he is, tell us a little bit something about himself. And then we're going to go over here to Apostle Godfrey and let Dr. Godfrey tell us a little bit about himself.
Pastor Paul Horn, I stay here in the city of Eufaula, pastor in Dothan, Alabama, at Hines Chapel AME Church. I'm married to Sister Tracy and had 3 wonderful kids and 2 grands.
All right, all right.
My name is Pastor Godfrey. I pastor the New Dimension Worldwide Ministry right here in the great city of Eufaula, Alabama. My lovely wife is Rhoda Godfrey. We have 5 young men, and it's an honor to be here.
All right,
big show with you.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you. Now let's do something. Let's talk about something that I want to talk about. First of all, I need both of you gentlemen, both of y'all to tell me, first of all, what it's going to take to get your generation involved in voting and stuff like that. And I want to apologize for my generation. When I was growing up, we had men. We had men in the neighborhood. Some was kin to us, and some wasn't kin to us. And they always challenged us. They always set the example. They always made us do what was right. Tell me, what must we do? Can you help me with that? I want to know what it's going to take to get this generation involved and voted. I always tell people that I got voter registration cards every time you see me, but yet I registered one person. And then the last turnout we had less than 12% of the people turn out. And what we're missing your generation. Let me say this before you answer the question. This is what I say, and you may agree, may disagree. Please feel free. I say the only way we're going to change things is that we got to change the voters, because the people that vote now vote for the same folks. That's why the same folks keep running, because they say they know they got the people that's going to vote for them. So if we're going to change things, we got to change who vote, number one, and then after we change who vote, then they'll change who they vote for, and that's how you bring about change. So please help me. Let's talk about that first. Let's talk about what it's going to take to get your generation interested in voting and get them to the polls.
Personally, I think that the individual have to see the need for the vote. If a person does not see a need for something, then they don't find themselves to be interested in it.
Okay.
And once they can find themselves to see that I have a need to vote because I'm interested in it, when they get interested about the country, about their city, about their county, about their state, and get real serious about that, then they say, I have a need that I must change some stuff because my vote actually counts.
Okay. Let me say this to you gentlemen too. This is what I do on Gumbo Live. A lot of times you'll be talking, and you see I ain't got no script in front of me, so we don't follow no script, but you may trigger something. And so I may cut you off to ask you a question, but I'm not trying to be rude, so y'all bear with me. I'm not trying to be rude. Now, let's help me understand what is it going to take to get them interested. What is it going to take to let them know that there is a need for them to go to the poll?
Well, the individual have to have a need themselves.
Okay.
The individual have to have something on the inside of them to say, I want something to change. I need this to change. I'm tired of crime. So I want to change. So I'm going to put somebody in place that can change crime. But if I don't care about crime, have no need for crime, it doesn't bother me, then it's okay. So I don't have a need for change. When it begins to affect my children, my grandkids, then my need begins to be demanding. So then I want to go down and march then and begin to want to make changes because then there's a need.
Okay. Apostle, do you think that if we continue to go the way we're going now, if we continue the way that we're going now, that his grandchildren, my grandchildren, I don't know if you got any grandchildren, if we keep going the way they're going now, tell me what you see.
I believe, and I agree with Pastor that the Bible does say train up a child, but I do believe that they got to go further just training them up. They have to see the need. And I think we are really missing this generation. And you know, we living in a time now that I do believe the Bible is true, but I do believe that we got to get out in the community. I think we need to kind of take our kids out in the community and say, listen, this is what you need to vote. When you get a certain age and when you get a certain age to vote, it's important to have a clean record. It's important to do all of these things, man. So I agree with Pastor, man, that a change got the need. There got to be a need there for change.
And here's what's significant.
Okay.
Most people didn't see the need to vote until we had a black President Obama run. So then every black person felt there was a need to vote. So then they ran to the polls to vote. Then after that took place, then they don't see the need because the thing was they want to make history and not change. Now you said something I'll give it that about.
Yes.
President Obama ran on change. That was his theme.
Yes.
To change. How much has changed? And I want all my listeners to excuse me. I'm not apologizing, but 85% of my viewers are non-minority. But I want to take this from a minority perspective. And those of you who are not minorities, and you know me, you understand what I'm talking about. We are not trying to divide this county, but we need to deal with some real issues, okay, in our community. And I learned a long time ago, if it's something over here that's bothering you, and we don't deal with it, it won't be long before it's bothering me.
Right.
So the president ran on change. And everybody I see is disappointed in him, and blame him for everything. I'm not sure I agree with all that. But let's talk about some changes. Let's talk about some changes that take place. And let's be realistic and talk about some changes that need to be taking place right now.
Well, by him running on change, you must understand that he can't make changes by himself because he's only one person. That's a collective group of individuals behind him to help make decisions. So then for him to run on change, may have gotten there because of the word change, but in reality, he was limited on the change that he could make. And some of them he could make was okay, and then some of he ruled in error just like all of us.
Right.
So that just goes with the territory.
Possible, tell us what you think. If all three of us sit here with a magic wand and we could change something right now, instantly, what would you change?
I think leadership.
Okay.
I think leadership, it goes back to leadership. If you could strengthen and change the mindset of leadership in the country, especially in our city, I go to leadership. I think leadership will help shift the city, help shift things that we come up against even right now.
But even with leadership, it has to be greater followership. Because our leader can only do what the followers allow him to do.
Yes. I want to talk about leadership. Let's talk about that for just a moment, okay? But let me say this to my viewing audience. The reason why I got these two young men, number one, I got great respect for them. Number one, I think we need to see a perspective from their outside. They're both Christian young men. They're both pastors, and then I wanted to get a mixed audience. I wanted to get somebody from my generation and the generation, but these are the only two men that would accept. I talk to people who are in positions, and these are the only two men who accepted. So but anyway, come on, let's talk about that. There are people. I talked to a man who heads an organization, and I talked to him about leadership, especially minority leaders. He told me two things. He said, number one, I don't want to talk about minority leaders because I don't want to divide this city. Well, we live in America. America is black, white, and others. And by talking about minority leaders, we're going to divide the city as far as I'm concerned. But the thing that really troubled me is the same fellow who's in position of a historical organization that has fought for injustice, has fought for inequality. That's what the organization is for. But he told me I could walk outside the door where we were and just grab four people and say he said 4 people would be the leaders. Is leaders that easy to find? No. Let's talk about leadership. And I understand you said about fathership. And we'll talk about that too. But I want to say, if I walk right outside there and grab 4 people and say, you're a leader.
No.
Will that work?
No. That won't work because as a pastor, you have to sit under somebody. You have to, even in the job world, there's a training that you have to get. And I think it goes back to training our kids, even though they go to school and get that education. But I think it goes beyond that factor. Because once you get your education, you still need some more training. So I believe it's leadership, man. I think that's what Rome, even with the nation today, man. The Bible says somewhere, Pastor, that he's going to turn the father, the son, back to the father, and the father back to the son. I think he's doing that even right now. But we got to get a hold of our kids, man, because I do believe that they are I'm gonna say church for tomorrow, the next. So we got to have trained leadership.
Yes.
In order to deal with the fellowship.
Most definitely.
Okay.
You have to have trained leadership, and you have to have trained fellowship. On both aspects.
Okay. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the fact. That we, as a community here in New Falls,
Okay.
all right. Okay. If I was to ask you gentlemen, if you would be brave enough, if you would be honest enough to name me 4 leaders from the minority community here in New Falls, and I go as far as Barber County.
Okay.
Could we do that? Keeping in mind what you said about what a leader should be, and keeping in mind in fellowship. You can't be a leader unless you got fellowship. And people ain't gonna follow this anybody.
No.
That's why I believe the theory of just pulling people off the street, say you're a leader, won't work. Could we, or should I even ask that question? Is that
That's an interesting concept. When you ask that question, you have to really ponder in mind, can I say that this is a leader that people actually follow and things get done?
Right, there you go. All right.
If things are not getting done, then the leadership is in the problem because of the fellowship is not. Because leaders give the fellowship on how to orchestrate what they have been given the vision or aspiration from God or from training to do. And if the fellowship, then that denotes that the leadership is weak if nothing is getting done. And just to verbally say stuff out your mouth that we're going to do this and nothing never get done denotes to me that the fellowship has a problem and the leadership has a bigger problem.
Yes. Okay. Now, let's look at it this. Because you are appointed or elected in a position, would that make you leader?
Me personally, I agree with what you said 100%. I believe when you appointed something, that's a chance you take. Now dealing with the leadership, what you just said, not only it works in the church, but it works outside. That same scenario works outside the church. And I believe when you pick, you got to be very careful. If you bring to the church world, you got to be.
Let's look at it.
Let me say this.
Let me just, this is a yes or no question. All right? And you can comment on it after you say either yes or no. All right? Because a person is appointed or elected to a position, or they do that and automatically make them a leader. Yes or no?
No, but you have to respect the position.
Okay. All right.
And does not make them a leader and does not make them a good leader.
Okay.
But because of whatever the laws of the land and biblical laws,
okay,
we have to respect that position as a leader.
Okay.
Now, what we have to do is, if they're not operating in the leadership criteria, then we have to begin to find ways to get them out of that position.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right.
But no.
Okay. One of the things that I wrote in the article this week is that is there a time when we ought to stand up against government? Is there respecting the position? Respecting the position. Is there a time that we ought to stand up against the ideas, or like you said, the things that are being said from that position?
I think.
Or do we just take it and go about our business?
I say yes. Because the reason I say yes is because if it's going against the will of God and it brings harm to other people, I do believe yes, we supposed to stand against it. Even though that person, and this is very interesting, man, because even though that person is in that position, I think we need to do something to get them out of that. I don't know, what do you do to when a person that's in that position is not getting anything done? What do you do? What do we do as a people?
Now, what you said was interesting. If the leader in that position has ideas, then should we go against the ideas? I believe if the person in position is governed by the laws that they're putting in, because every system that we in has a system that has been put in place, which is a law that has been put in place that we're governed by to hold our position. When we get outside of that position or the governing system that we're in, then we must and can be challenged. Now, if we're in the perimeter of the law, the government system that we're in, then we can't challenge it because they're in the perimeter, just because they have an idea that we don't like or something that they say that offends us. And that's what really bothers me, because everything that people say might be offensive does not mean it's racism.
That's right.
Because you offend me does not mean it's racism or you don't like me. I might not like your idea and it offends you, but it does not make it racism. Does not mean I hate you. But you have to respect the position because of your idea, because your idea might not have been birthed from the proper place. Because you've seen something work in Henry County and you try to bring it to Barber County, and because it's a good idea, I cannot like it. And I can tell you that. But if it's governed in the law, the bylaws in which you put in that position to hold, then I have to stand by it, or I get you out.
Right. Let's do this then. Let's go right back to where we started from when we talk about the need. All right. How do you think that? How much blame do we give to the leaders when folks don't see the need? Then let's talk about the need, okay? Folks are discouraged. Folks don't want to go vote. You understand? Because you said this earlier. because they don't think it's going to make a difference. They don't think it's going to change. You follow what I'm saying? So if we're going to point fingers on this particular situation, I'm trying to think of a word to use to describe the attitude of the voters, your generation. Y'all can help me with that. Your generation, and I agree with you 100%. If I don't see a need to get out of that, but I'm going to stay home. You know what I'm saying? And that's what our grandparents and our parents, they did a great job of showing us the need. You understand what I'm saying? They did a good job of saying, listen, look how they treat me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they was turning dogs on folks that we love.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So I listen, as soon as I could vote, I voted.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And I watched who I voted. And if they did not take the dogs off mama, man, you get this generation. You see, this thing gonna fall in your hands. Yeah. It's gonna fall in your hands. Man, I'm down here now. It's gonna fall in your hands. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to get before we go on to something else, I'm trying to get us to see what is the role of the leaders, elected or appointed leaders, self-appointed, appointed by folks. I don't got that. What is their responsibility to get us to see the need? Or do they have that responsibility?
If they were serious about their positions, and here's personally what I would do if I was elected leader. If I was serious about my position and want things to change and be effective in my leadership, then I would partner with people of faith and people that has influence. And I'll have workshops and seminars to expose people on the need to vote, the history behind vote. It makes no difference if I'm black or white or elected, because I'm more concerned about you having a need for change. So then I would partner with faith ministries and get together and have workshops, open public workshops, and teach them the value of what people have died for and right. And if you continue to vote right, I'm gonna keep training you and teaching you the values, and this is what leaders are supposed to look like. And as long as you have me in leadership, I want to educate you on. I'm not gonna keep you in the dark. I'm gonna educate you on. This is the reason why you should vote.
All right, that's good. That's good. That's good. Yes. Go ahead. And
I believe too, Pastor. I have a burden, and I think leaders has a burden for change. And even here in Eufaula, my burden is not too long ago we had a storm. We had a ice storm here in Eufaula, and we had to open our church up. And I'm trying to find out is why do we have a place for animals to go, and we don't have a place for a human being to live? And so I think it needs change in ourselves too, also.
Look, nobody, and you were the only person that I know, because I was with you on this thing, that spoke out against that. You were the only person I know that spoke out against the fact that the animals got somewhere to go, but human beings, you're the only one that spoke out against that. So now, let's deal with this before we move on. We're going to talk about Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley said something that I thought was very interesting. But now, before we move on to that, I've asked you a question about the responsibility of the leaders. But now, what is the responsibility of the followers? You said we have to have followers. You were the only one that spoke out against this. You follow what I'm saying? And you know, when we stood before the city council, they act like they was concerned, but they didn't do nothing. Am I right?
Yeah.
So what is the responsibility? I'm going to come to you first. I'm going to come to Pastor Dr. Godfrey. Tell us, what is the responsibility of the followers? Do we cry out, or do we just throw up our hands?
Well, I think it goes back to what Pastor Holman said, that it's a burden. All that comes down to having a burden to talk about. Listen, we got to do something about this. And talking to your leaders, instructing your leaders, what you were saying, instructing your leaders and telling them, let them feel your heart. It's when you're dealing with leadership, man, even to pastoring and when you're a leader, it's a burden that you have for change. Even though it's a vision, I understand the vision part, but there's a burden man, change got to come. Do people see the change? Do this leader feel what I feel? That our city is a blessed city, but it needs some change in some areas. That's what I feel from my heart.
Okay, come on, tell us, and I don't want us to dance around this thing.
I think
What is the responsibility of the father?
responsibility. The father has a whole lot of responsibility. One thing I know they have a right, and I think they don't know this because they're not in a place to understand it. They have a right to talk to their councilmen, mayor. They have a right. That's the first thing I think the father should do. You need to sit down and have conversations with your leaders of the city or whatever. Secondly, if they refuse to respond, then protest. They have laws for protesting that they keep you in accordance to the law. That it's okay to protest as long as not getting violent and stuff like that. You can protest, and then the next thing is the biggest and the greatest thing is go down there and vote and make the change of putting some leadership in place that can work not necessarily for you, but work for the betterment of the city or the state or the country. Or you go and make a change by putting your vote down.
Now, most people follow the party line. More people are more concerned about if I'm a Democrat or a Republican than I am about trying to get them to vote for the right person. And I'm gonna say this, and then you can comment on this shortly, and then quickly, and then we can talk about Charles Barkley. I think that we are a place in America where the party system no longer serving nobody.
Exactly.
I don't think it's serving nobody. Comment on that.
I want to back up a little bit when you talked about voting. The experience that I have, that I've seen even in the church world, people are not even registered. You got 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 years old people had not even registered to vote, and you try to tell them, and you would think that come along with the territory.
But let me tell you about registration. I go to the registration office at least 2 or 3 times a week just to check. The eligible voters of Broward County and the city of Eufaula, 85% of the people who are eligible to vote are registered. 85% is already registered. Of the eligible people that can vote, 85% is registered. I stand on my numbers. And if you don't believe, you go to the voter registration office. You see, so we got the numbers registered. But I agree with you now. I'm not talking against registration, because you hear me talk about that all the time. But now that we at this great number, you know, the thing now is to get people out to vote. That's the thing. That's what you.
I was just gonna say, it's not even about Democrat or Republican. It's about their own personal agendas. So what they can accomplish with their own personal goals or their own personal agendas, then that's why you shouldn't vote party. You should vote individual. I vote individual, who I like. If I don't like you, I don't vote for you. And I like people on what they do and how they treat me. I think that makes a big difference in anything.
I think that is more hatred. I see more hatred, political hatred. I see more politicians spreading hatred now than ever in a time in my life. Let's talk about this. A lot of folks don't want to talk about this, and everybody got their own opinion, and I'll share mine later or whatever. But Charles Barkley said some things, and he said some things that he said. And Charles Barkley, for those of you who don't know, was a retired professional basketball player. Played at Auburn University, came out early to sign a contract to play Philadelphia 76ers, if I'm not mistaken. But now he's on TV. Starting at night when the basketball season started, it runs to January, February. So his words carry a lot of weight. One way or the other. And Charles don't mind saying what's on his mind. Charles said, I'm going to summarize what he said. Charles said that the reason why blacks are not successful is not because of white folks, but because of black folks. And he said that he used the word that you use a lot. It's because of our mindset. You understand? We promote thugs. We promote ignorance. We promote that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff. We promote dependency. Y'all brave enough to let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Charles Barkley basically said because of envy and jealousy, we hold each other down. And I'm gonna use this term. White folks ain't got to worry about us because we doing a good job of killing ourselves. Let's talk about that. Y'all want to talk about that, gentlemen? Sure. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree with Charles Barkley?
I totally agree. He said it is one of the dirtiest, dark secrets that we keep hid. That is so true. We say that stuff among ourselves all the time, but we never say it in public and no one else to hear it. We are, I believe, for the most of us, we're our greatest harm to us because we have a problem seeing other black people make it or become successful. I believe it's personally because of the mindset that the master had put on the slaves way back in the day. Because if you notice anything about slavery, it is history of the study on slavery. The master didn't whoop the black people. They got the other black people to beat the other black people. So they was always subjected to the other black person. They already had a problem, not with Uncle or Mr. Jim, but they had a problem with the other black person. And I think that mentality grew up, so then they have that crab mentality that when one make it, we always put them down, and we will never support our own as much as we will support another group.
I'm coming to you. I'm going to say something. I grew up born and raised in Louisiana, and I had an opportunity to interchange with different folks, and I knew a black fellow that was in business who was determined not to leave nothing for his son. His philosophy was, and he would tell us all the time, ain't nobody gave me nothing, I ain't giving you nothing. Now this white fellow who was in the same community, his father was in business, but his father was determined to work hard to leave something for him. So he went out to work hard. And so this attitude, going back to what you said, was passed on from generation to generation to generation. And somewhere down the line, they got to stop. But go ahead, come on, Apostle. Let's talk about what the statement that was.
I got one thing I want to say. The mindset. The mindset. The mindset. He said in one of his statements that we've been brainwashed. It's the mindset of people, man. That's all I want to say. Just that word. The mindset.
Well, the most mindset is poisoned by ignorance.
That's right.
Ignorance is killed by knowledge. And because most black people desire not to have knowledge, and we operate, ignorance means not knowing. That's right. It means not knowing. Right? Because we don't know any better, don't get knowledge to make. The Bible tells us to have an inheritance for our second, and third, and fourth generation. Therefore, we should begin to put stuff in place for our kids, our grandkids, our great-grandkids. But ignorance tells you, let me use all I got now. And when I die, I can't take anything with me, and I want everything gone.
Tell me this, and I want y'all to know I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your time. And I know both of y'all got something to do. This is what I do. I stay here all night, but I ain't like I do. But listen. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about, and all of us, all three of us are pastors. But we are not the most popular person in the community.
No.
So why is it that we and Charles Barkley said at one time, because I'm not a role model, I don't want to be a role model. But we tend to uplift the thugs, the pimps, the people that driving the car with the loud music and the spinners and stuff. I know you're going to tell us mindset, but tell me why we as black folks, the most popular person in our community, is our community. Man, the cat go to jail and get out of jail, man, and the church and everybody else, hurrah, to talk about that.
I think it's because Doing study, I do a lot of reading and studying.
Sure.
I think we don't like ourselves. And we don't like ourselves, we don't like anything that look like us unless it's doing what we're doing. If it's doing anything opposite of what I'm doing, they think they're white. He thinks he's white.
Right, that's right.
He thinks because he's driving a better car. He thinks he don't make it. He thinks he, what makes me think I'm white because I drive a better car? Because I can afford. She was just like, because I can afford a better car. I think we see people just where we are, and if we can't see them bigger than us, then we have a problem with it, unless it's a different color than us.
That's good. Charles said that too. Charles Barkley said that there's always this thing about you're not black enough. If you get an education, you're going to an Ivy League school, and you driving something the size of Cadillac, and who is the one saying that you're not black enough? It's us.
Yes.
Right. We're the ones saying that you're not black enough. White folks ain't saying that to us. We're the ones saying that. But I just want to talk about why is it that you can fill up a club at night. You understand? But you can't get nobody to go to church.
Right.
And why is it that we laud the thugs? We laud the thugs. Why is that? Doctor, come on.
I believe, Pastor, that when you say the church, the club is full, and we got a couple clubs that's I won't call it name, but we got a couple clubs that's here in Eufaula. It's full, but then sometimes the church is not as full. I think it goes back to influence. Influence being an example. I believe sometimes as leadership, man, we go through different things ourselves to propel us to that place. Then you got to ask yourself, what is success? What are we saying? What is success, man? Because I think people think just because you got a car, just because you drive this, just because I don't think that's success all the way. Me personally.
I'm going to oppose it just a little bit.
Okay.
I think it's not necessarily so much influence, because if you look at probably 95% of the people that's in the club, their mama and dads and granddad was raised in the church, brought them up in the church. They made a decision to come to church. I think the first thing that made them see success was when television began to start the rap and the rap people and all that stuff, and that came out, and then black people began to get successful and have the 24s and 22s and riding, and then they have the club scene. So then that's the first idea of them seeing success. So then they cater to that because that's the mindset that triggers success.
All right, look, let me tell you what I hear you say. Somebody else has defined success for us.
The image.
Somebody else has defined it, and they put it on TV, and we say,
We bought it.
yes, in order to be successful, this is what we got to do. All right, and the moment somebody becomes successful,
That does not look like our success that we've seen. They think they're white.
and now let's do this. Tell me this. Why is it? And I'm not into this. It's a fair question to you, brothers. And this is a question I've been asking myself all my life. Why is it that we'll sit around all day and say nothing and talk about the drug dealers, the drunks, and all these other folks all day long? Spend all of our waking moments talking about this type of stuff, and never talk about. And when you talk about the preachers, there's always something negative.
Lord.
How come you can see such negative in us, but not in nobody else? And I think it goes back to what you just said. We look to see ourselves in that person. We can't see ourselves in you.
Right.
Because you live in a whole different lifestyle.
Totally.
You follow what I'm saying? And so we tend to argue with what we don't understand. But listen, for y'all time, I'm gonna back up and give you each 3 minutes to say whatever you want to say. As we get ready to close, again, I want to say thank you for allowing us to come here, and I want to thank you for participating. My friend, thank you very much for coming, and I I know you got a busy schedule. You are a businessman in this town, and I really want to sit down and talk to you. You father keep talking about they business friendly, and I just want to see if that's true. And I really want to do another show with you where we can talk about it from a businessman perspective. So I thank you. I got to always say, if you're watching Gumbo Live, Tuesday night at 6:45 on channel 97 locally. It's going to be on YouTube the Monday before, and it's going to always be on YouTube. You can pull it up. I always tell you, if you got any questions or any comments about this program, at any time, you just take your comments and your questions and drop it off at the bread basket. And if we got enough questions for these two preachers about what they have talked about today, I'll bring them back and let them answer your questions for you. And if you don't believe me, talk to somebody that has brought some questions or comments to the bread basket in my audience. And I want to thank those of you who watch the program on TV and watch it on YouTube. I want to thank you. We got people in almost every state now that watches us on YouTube, and I hear from them. And I want to thank you. I want you to continue to do that. And most of all, I sure thank you for your comments, positive and negative. I thank you for your comments, because I want to make this show the very best that it can be. Now, I want to give each one of you 3 minutes to talk about anything you want to talk about. You can talk about what we talked about. You can talk about Charles Barkley. You can talk about anything you want to talk about. But this is your 3 minutes. I'm gonna start to my left with Dr. Godfrey. We at your house, and again, I want to thank you for opening your doors for us and doing it at the last minute.
Yes.
So you got your 3 minutes.
First of all, I want to say it's an honor, Pastor, to be here, be on Gumbo Live with you, and it's an honor to be with two men of God, Pastor Horn. And I really don't have much to say, but everything been said. You got to change your mindset, man. If we want things to change, we want things to move. I'm a man talking about the mindset. The mindset have to change. The leadership. You got to have good leadership, man, to get things to move. So basically, just honor to be here, man. I thank you. Thank you. Anytime you need us, just call us, man.
Thank you.
That's all I'm saying.
I just challenge everyone to get out and vote if you're serious about change, if you're serious about seeing things new and seeing things different. I just challenge you to go out and vote to your conviction, where you think change is going to be. And if you can't vote to your conviction, then run for your conviction. If you want to make a change, you can have the effect in the city to make a change. Mm-hmm. So who says you cannot go out and run, and then you go make the change that you want somebody else to make? Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to challenge all of our people to make sure that you begin to see not where you are, but see where you want to be. Mm-hmm. Meaning that I'm not concerned so much of where I am and where I come from, but I'm more concerned on where I'm trying to get to and what I'm trying to leave for my kids and my grandkids. Mm-hmm. And I want them to say, well, my father left me this, or my grandfather left me great. And I challenge all the commissioners and the leaders of the city. I think this is a good time to begin to spark something in you, to not personalize this thing, but make it citywide. And you begin to partner with faith-based people and put out stuff to encourage them, send out people to train them and teach them. Bring out seminars. We will welcome you to come in, and we'll base up with you. And we can make a difference. And I think by us partnering together, most of the leaders in this city, I know personally, and all the judges and lawyers, we know personally. But to partner together and see us working together to make a change seriously will really enhance the city, to know that we're not trying to separate. We're not trying to make a space, but we're trying to make this gap, and I'm not doing anything to try to make this city. I heard a comment that offended me. Mm-hmm. I didn't take it to be racist, but it offended me. Mm-hmm. I heard this guy from Dothan made a comment about the leadership here. I can't call that name. This guy, it was publicly, Richard Stokes made a
right.
leadership of
Right.
Barber County.
Yeah, you can say that about
So
it.
when you say in Barber County, then it fits me because I stay in
That's
Barber
right,
County.
that's right.
So when you say something about Judge Smith Burkhardt, and
Right.
you say something about my judge, you
That's
say
right.
something about the sheriff, you talking about Leroy Upshaw, which is my sheriff, so
Right.
that offended me. So then, and I know them personally, so that offended me even more. You don't stay here, and you're gonna tell people that you don't do no business, and then stay out of here. Why?
Yeah, that's right.
So then, that should spark something in them to alone to say, well, let me partner with some faith-based people and let us sit down and let's open up an open forum for all of them to come. We can educate them, blacks and white, that they understand that we ain't trying to divide nothing. We trying to make this thing work.
Yes.
And I think that would be great.
Let's agree on this. And what both of you said is so beautiful. But let's agree on this. If the leadership won't come to us, let's agree to go to leadership.
Amen. On the fact.
Let's agree to bring something to them besides just smile. No complaints. Let's bring something to them on paper. And let's let everybody know. We went to the leadership. We presented this. And then we'll see. Then we'll see.
Sounds good.
And we got the, and I agree with y'all, both of y'all said about the need. They got to see a need. And the only way they can see a need is we got to present something out there to them. That you ain't got to just eat bread alone. Man, you can get you some turkey, some ham, because it's all that.
Right.
Thank you both. Thank you both very much. Thank you both very much. Look, you've been watching Gumbo Live with LC Green. And, I got these two mighty men of God with me, Pastor Horn and Pastor Godfrey. They were with me today on Gumbo Live. I want you to watch this program, and I want you to comment on this program. And we're going to run this program before voting. The voting is on the 4th. We're going to run this before Tuesday. I'm gonna leave here now and take it to a production company that we might make a special. We're going to make a special episode of Gumbo Live so we can get this on TV. And people on their way to the polls, they have something to think about.
Right.
Go out and vote. We're not endorsing nobody. I'm not endorsing nobody. Only thing I want you to do is please go out and vote. Gumbo Live with LCB.
The next time you need a haircut, think of the barber shop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old JCPenney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama. With one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.